William pays tribute to Jane Goodall after her passing, a moment that has shaken both the scientific community and the world of celebrity influence. Jane Goodall, one of the most iconic and beloved figures of our time, has died at the age of 91. And the news has spread with both heartbreak and reverence. For more than 6 decades, she carried a message of hope, responsibility, and compassion, not just for chimpanzees, but for the planet and for humanity itself. And now, as tributes poured in, one of the most notable and emotional came from Prince William, whose words captured the essence of what Jane Goodall represented to millions. Jane Goodall's passing marks the end of an era. She wasn't just a scientist, she was a cultural force. Born in 1934 in London, Jane's childhood love for animals blossomed into a revolutionary career. In 1960, at the age of just 26, she traveled to Gombe National Park in Tanzania, where she began the work that would redefine primatology forever. Unlike many scientists of her time, she broke rigid academic conventions. She gave chimpanzees names instead of numbers. She studied them in their natural environment with patience and empathy. And she discovered tool use among apes, a finding that overturned the long-held belief that only humans made and used tools. These breakthroughs didn't just expand science, they redefined what it meant to be human. Over the decades, Jane Goodall evolved from field scientist into global ambassador. She became a UN messenger of peace, founded the Jane Goodall Institute, and launched the Roots and Shoots youth program that empowered countless young people to take action in their communities. Her lectures filled auditoriums around the globe, her books became bestsellers, and her interviews revealed a woman who was both fierce in her advocacy and deeply gentle in her manner. She could be speaking to presidents one day and to a classroom of children the next, and in both settings, her message was the same. Every person can make a difference. Her sudden passing in Los Angeles, while still on a speaking tour, stunned the world. Even in her final days, she was actively working, editing documents, giving talks, and recording messages for students. Jane never retired, never slowed down. Her last public words were to young people, urging them to find like-minded friends and create change together. It now feels like a farewell letter to the world, one final call to action that echoes even louder in the silence left behind. As news of her death spread, tributes poured in from every corner of the globe. Former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama spoke of her extraordinary ability to connect science with humanity. Leonardo DiCaprio, known for his environmental advocacy, honored her as one of his lifelong inspirations. Natalie Portman, Gisele Bündchen, and countless celebrities added their voices, sharing memories and gratitude. Social media flooded with heartfelt posts, ordinary people recalling how Jane's books or speeches changed their lives, scientists explaining how she shaped their careers, and students describing how Roots and Shoots gave them purpose. But the tribute that caught the world's attention came from Prince William. The Prince of Wales described her as a voice the world cannot replace, praising her boundless curiosity, compassion, and pioneering spirit. He admitted that she inspired him personally to devote himself to protecting the planet. In his words, she made a difference and challenged us all to do the same. Coming from a royal who has increasingly positioned himself as a champion of environmental causes, this was more than a polite statement. It was a deeply personal acknowledgement of influence. Jane Goodall didn't just reach classrooms and conservationists. She reached into the holes of power. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle also shared a tribute, remembering Goodall as a friend of their family. Jane had met the couple's son Archie as a baby and was photographed tenderly interacting with him. Meghan described her as a gentle guide with the strength of a warrior, while Harry spoke of her warmth and the way she made him feel personally accountable for the natural world. For the royals, her legacy isn't distant. It's deeply woven into their own work and family moments. What makes these tributes so powerful is that they're not just about admiration. They're about responsibility. Jane Goodall lived by one central philosophy, that every person has the power and the duty to make a difference. Her passing raises the question, will the world rise to meet that challenge? Scientists, activists, and policymakers are already calling her death a wake-up call. They warn that as biodiversity collapses, habitats vanish, and climate change accelerates, the urgency Jane embodied must now be carried by others. Her absence leaves a void, but also an opportunity for people across generations to step forward. Jane Goodall's influence went far beyond the chimpanzees of Gombe. She transformed conservation into a moral issue, making it about empathy, responsibility, and the choices we make daily. She asked people to eat less meat, to consider the environmental footprint of their actions, to speak up for the voiceless. She used her fame not for herself, but as a megaphone for those who could not speak. She stood on the world stage not as a celebrity, but as a reminder that we are all connected. Her personal life, though often private, was also a source of fascination. She married Baron Hugo van Lolwyck, a renowned wildlife photographer, and together they had one son, Hugo, known as Grub. Later she remarried Derek Bryson, who tragically died of cancer in 1980. Through loss and change, Jane continued her work with relentless dedication, raising her son and building an institute that would outlive her. Her grandchildren, now mourning her, carry the weight of a legacy that has touched every continent. As we look back on Jane Goodall's 91 years, we see a life defined not by fame, but by purpose. She turned the quiet observation of chimpanzees into a movement for global change. She shifted the way scientists approach animals, insisting on empathy where there was once detachment. She inspired conservation campaigns, laws, and treaties, and she left behind institutions designed to endure long after her passing. The Jane Goodall Institute has already assured the world that her mission will continue. Programs are in place, staff and leaders are ready, and the vision she built will not be abandoned. Roots and Shoots, with chapters in dozens of countries, continues to grow, reminding us that the seeds she planted are still sprouting. But the truth is, no institution can fully replace the force of her presence. That's why the tributes feel so raw. People aren't just grieving a scientist, they're grieving a guide. In the coming weeks, expect memorials and events honoring her life. Expect documentaries, retrospectives, and stories revisiting her most famous moments at Gombe. Expect classrooms to dedicate lessons, environmental organizations to host gatherings, and celebrities to amplify her message once more. And expect her influence to echo long after the news cycle has moved on. But at this moment, one image stands out above all else: Prince William, a future king, pausing to honor a woman who began her life as a curious child with a toy chimpanzee and who grew into the most influential conservationist of our time. His tribute is not just royal courtesy. It's a reminder that even those in positions of immense power recognize the unmatched impact of Jane Goodall. She made the world listen, and even royalty took note. So as we mourn, as we share her quotes and retell her discoveries, the challenge is clear: to make sure this is not just nostalgia, but momentum. Jane Goodall herself once said, "You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you." Now that she is gone, that responsibility belongs to us more than ever. William's tribute has amplified that call. Celebrities, politicians, royals, scientists, all are voicing their grief. But what will define her legacy isn't the words spoken today, but the actions taken tomorrow. If even a fraction of the people inspired by her choose to live differently, to advocate louder, to protect more fiercely, then Jane Goodall will continue shaping the world she loved so deeply. Her death is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of the next chapter, one that belongs to all of us. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.